Hi everyone, and Barney from Sept with Love, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to the Rainbow Slider Quilt. So this is the quilt we're going to be sewing for the Sew a Jelly Roll Day, Sewalong, virtual Sewalong. It's going to happen over on our Facebook Sewalong and Quilting group, so there's a link in the caption below for you to go and join that group if you'd like to join along. And so today I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about the pattern. It isn't released yet, but I wanted to talk about the fabric requirements so that you can start getting a bit of a look through your stash. Perhaps if you need to, go and buy a new jelly roll. I've also written this pattern not just for jelly rolls, but also for fat eighth bundles. So whether you've got some fat eighth bundles sitting in your cupboard going, what am I going to do with these gorgeous things? Perhaps this could be the quilt for you. So first of all, let's have a better look at the quilt. So as you can see, lots and lots of gorgeous colours. I used Rainbow Sherbet by Sarah Ditty. It's a motor collection, obviously, for jelly rolls. And here we have a better look at it. So as you can see, we've got one colourway here, the next one here, the third, the greens, just show you a bit, and then the blues, and there's just a little bit more of the purple down the very bottom. So basically we've got 5 different colorways for this quilt to give us that real rainbow look as we're going across the quilt. The Rainbow Sherbet fabric, I had a fat eighth bundle of that. It was an early pre-release fat eighth bundle, and the colors were just so gorgeous. I couldn't wait to do something with it. So I didn't have a jelly roll, unfortunately. So that's why the pattern's written for both jelly roll strips and fat eighth bundles. The colors in here are amazing. The fat eighth bundle, well, no. Before we get to that, let's talk about your fabric requirements if you want to come and make this Rainbow Slider quilt with us for the Sew a Jelly Roll Day, which by the way is Saturday, September 16th. So the material requirements or the fabric requirements for the Rainbow Slider quilt for the Sewalong is 1 jelly roll, but there's a few provisos. I might pop in a little video here or a link to the video that I talked about the different colorways. So as I mentioned, there are 5 different sort of colorways or color bands to get that gradient effect. So your jelly roll kind of has to have those 5 different colors. The one that I'm going to play with on the Sew a Jelly Roll Day is actually a Bonnie and Camille collection, Smitten, and it's got sort of the 5 colors, the reds, the pinks, the aquas, the navies, and the greens. But I am going to go to my stash and flesh this out a little bit, and I'm going to cut a few 2.5 inch strips from my stash because there are lots of low volumes in here as well, and I don't want to use those in the quilt. Or do I? Okay, now I'm starting to think maybe I will. No, I want to keep it with a sort of a bit more saturated colours. So I'm going to go with those 5 colours and add to my stash. So basically what we need for the pattern is 48 strips, 2.5 inches by the width of fabric. So a normal jelly roll has 40 strips in it, but because I'm not going to be able to use a few of them, I'm going to have to go to my stash and flesh it out a little bit. And hey, anything that helps use up my stash a bit might be a good thing. So you need 48 strips by width of fabric for the pattern. Depends on your jelly roll as whether you can use all 40 in here and you only need to find 8 extras, or whether you perhaps need to find, you know, another 10 or another 15 or something like that. It just depends. And the other thing too is if you've got 2 jelly rolls from the same designer, it's quite likely that they'll have similar tones or similar colorways in their other jelly rolls. So you could perhaps combine 2 jelly rolls to get your pattern out, maybe make it a little bit longer. We can talk about that on the Sewalong Day. So if you want to use a fat eighth bundle, you're going to need 34 fat eighths. Now, fat eighth bundles are a bit like fat quarter bundles, obviously smaller in terms of the fabric, but they may not have the same amount of fat eighths in them. It might be, this one's got 38, I think this one's probably got closer to 40. Sunnyside. Dwell. Can't remember how many Dwell had in it, but you may need to do a very similar thing as I was talking about with the jelly roll, in terms of going, yes, this has got the right number of colorways in it, but I don't want to use the light or low volume ones. I need to go to my stash, so you might need to tweak your fat eighth bundle a bit as well. Gosh, this one's pretty. Sorry, I'll stop my fabric fondling. So apart from the actual fabric for the top, there is no background fabric. As you can see, we're just doing full on color. So we have split the colorways into, as I said, 5 colorways, and there are different numbers of pieces that you require for each of the color groupings. So the pattern actually has all the descriptions of how many jelly roll strips or fat eighth pieces that you need in each of the colorways, and I'll pop that up now so that you can have a look at that. And there'll be a link to that also over in the Sewalong page on our website. So you can start tweaking your fabric, having a look through your stash, finding something delicious or a delicious jelly roll, and you can start getting ready for our Sewalong. So the Rainbow Slider Quilt Pattern will be out very soon, and I can't wait for you guys to grab the pattern, start getting your fabrics together, and we'll be ready for our Sewalong on Saturday, September 16th. So I just wanted to talk a little bit today about fabric choices. Jelly rolls can be a little bit tricky because obviously it's from a particular collection. So for example, if you've got a collection like this one, which is Pepper and Flax, been sitting in my stash for a little while, and I love these colors, but we need 5 color groups for this quilt to really get that graduation from colors down the edge corners through the middles and through the rest. So, you know, when we're talking about, you know, looking at the greens, looking at the blues, looking at the oranges and reds, you need to have sort of 5 distinct colors. So this one, whilst it's beautiful, sort of has the yellows, greens and greys. So it's really only got 3 different colors. There are sort of some different, there's a light grey and a dark grey and a light yellow and a darker yellow, but it's not really a wide enough range to make a pop in this pattern. So I perhaps wouldn't choose this one as my go-to for today's Sewalong. Again, picking another one of my favorites. This one's Love Note by Lila Boutique. Love Struck's coming soon too, so looking forward to that. This, again, is so gorgeous, and I'm waiting for a good pattern for this one, but I don't think the Jelly Roll Slider is going to be it. Again, we've got sort of pinks, peaches, greens, and this lovely blue. So it's really only 3 colors. Now we could use the low volumes, and that could be one of the slides in the Rainbow Slider, but there's still only 4. So again, I'd go maybe not. Now obviously you can pull from your stash. So what I'm looking at, because unfortunately I don't have any more rainbow sherbet jelly rolls or fat eighth bundles left. I'm so unhappy that I don't, but because I don't, I have gone to my stash. I've looked through my jelly rolls, and I'm actually going to go with this one. This is actually Smitten by Bonnie and Camille, and I've got quite a big Bonnie and Camille stash. So here we've got greens, navies, aqua, and pinks. So those reds would, and reds, sorry, pinks and reds. So what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got our 5 colorways. Now this jelly roll itself has quite a few low volumes, and I don't want to use those. So I'm going to pull those low volumes out, and I'm going to go to my stash, and I'm going to find a few more greens, a few more reds, a few more pinks, Yeah, maybe just to flesh it out. What I did with the Rainbow Slider one was I actually popped a couple of solids in. So you'll see there's a blue, I've got a green, there's this lovely red that I popped in, and a yellow, and there's a pink and a purple down the bottom as well. So I just had a couple of solids, Motabella solids, that just matched really nicely, and I just popped them in just to give some extra bulk to make my quilt that little bit longer. Oh, and that's the other thing too. Heck, you've got 2 jelly rolls from the same designer. Cut some extra strips, make it even a longer quilt, or going wide is going to require a bit more maths, but going longer is easy. So that's what we're going to be looking at. So I'm going to head to my stash. I'm going to go and pick a few extras so that I've got enough of each of these colours to make out my colour groupings that are in the pattern. And hopefully that's given you a bit of an idea of how to look at your jelly rolls and see whether they're got enough colour contrast, got your 5 different colourways or colour options, I suppose, in your jelly roll, or whether you can perhaps grab a few from your stash or grab a few extra solids maybe from your local quilt shop. Ready for our sew along. Okay, I could go on and on. If you've got more questions about whether your jelly roll is perhaps going to work with this pattern and look really good, head on over to our Facebook group. If you haven't joined already, make sure you answer the 3 questions. I'm trying to keep spammers and bots and all that sort of stuff out of the Facebook group because I just want community, quilting, sewing, and having fun. So pop your post in there with your questions perhaps about your particular jelly roll, as to whether it's going to be good, whether perhaps you need to flesh out X or Y in your colours, and we can start a conversation. So talk soon.